One man, 24 rabbits, 1859. That's all it took to break an entire continent. His name was Thomas Austin, Victorian pastoralist, passionate hunter, and possibly the single most catastrophically wrong person in Australian ecological history. He released 24 European rabbits onto his property because he thought it would do little harm to have a few rabbits to hunt. Within a decade, they had spread across southeastern Australia. Within 50 years, there were 600 million of them. Australia tried everything to stop it. For 70 years, nothing worked. Then two viruses did the whole job essentially for free. Austin's estate was Barwon Park, a massive property in Winchelsea. He wanted a piece of home, so his brother William crated up the targets and shipped them from Somerset on a vessel named Lightning. They landed on Christmas Day. The local paper immediately warned Austin to be careful, predicting the animals would ruin local farming. He ignored them. By 1866, a visiting British prince shot 416 rabbits on the estate in under 4 hours. The warning was already a reality. Austin died in December of 1871. He didn't live to see the real disaster. Lucky him. A female European rabbit can produce 40 offspring every single year. In Australia, she found paradise. The winters were mild, allowing breeding to continue with almost no interruption. The endless grasslands offered an infinite buffet, and the local soils made burrowing effortless. Even worse, Australia had no co-evolved predators. Native dingoes and wedge-tailed eagles had zero evolutionary experience with this fast-moving target, so they mostly ignored them. It was a biological jackpot. By the early 1900s, those original 24 rabbits had multiplied into an estimated 600 million, swarming across the continent. They ate the roots. When the roots died, the topsoil simply blew away. Riverbanks collapsed. Across massive sheep stations, green pastures turned to bare dirt, gutting wool production because 16 rabbits eat as much as a single sheep. Beneath the surface, native marsupials like bilbies and bettongs were evicted from their own burrows and pushed out of entire regions. The soil and the wildlife vanished together. It was the literal breakdown of the country's dirt and diversity, all because one wealthy man wanted a few targets to shoot on his weekends off. Australia fought back with fences. Between 1901 and 1907, Western Australia built 3 massive barriers stretching over 3,300 kilometers. It was an engineering marvel. It was also completely useless. The rabbits simply ran ahead of the construction crews. They dug under the wire, slipped through damaged gates, and kept moving. Today, the world's longest barrier is just a tourist attraction. Desperate farmers turn to phosphorus bait, fumigation, and bulldozers to crush warrens. But local culling never scaled. It was Monday to Thursday compensation. You could kill millions of rabbits all week, and they would breed them all back by Friday. In South America, wild cottontails carry a virus called myxoma. It only causes mild skin tumors there. But European rabbits had zero evolutionary exposure. In Australian laboratories, the pathogen killed 99% of them. After island trials in the late 1940s, scientists released the virus into the Murray-Darling River system in 1950. Mosquitoes and fleas carried the infection across the dry interior. It was biological warfare on a continental scale. Within 5 years, 500 million rabbits were dead. It remains the fastest vertebrate pest wipeout in recorded history. Grass returned within a single growing season. In the quiet, native bilbies and bettongs moved back into their old homes. Evolution does not care about human victories. The 1% of rabbits that survived myxoma did not just get lucky. They carried rare genetic variations that shielded their immune systems. They did what rabbits do. They bred. Within a decade, those defensive traits became the standard. Meanwhile, the virus had its own business problem. If you kill your host too quickly, you go down with the ship. The hyper-lethal strains burned out, leaving milder variants to circulate. Rabbit mortality plummeted from 99% to roughly 50 to 80%. By the 1980s, the numbers were climbing again. The weapon was blunt. In 1984, a new weapon appeared in China. Rabbit hemorrhagic disease virus did not need insect vectors to spread. It traveled through contact, contaminated dirt, and the air. It killed up to 100% of European hosts. Australia brought it to Wardang Island for trials in 1995. Then, the virus escaped. Flies carried it to the mainland before testing even finished. CSIRO simply gave up on containment and authorized a nationwide release in 1996. It tore through the dry interior, hitting 95% mortality. Paddocks went silent. Together, both viruses saved $70 billion. By the early 2000s, rabbits in the South were already adapting. Evolution does not negotiate. When a new strain, RHDV2, arrived from Europe in 2017, Australia released it across thousands of sites. It faltered in the wet, cool pastures of Victoria and Tasmania. Genetic studies show resistance alleles are spreading faster than models predicted. Today, 3 separate biological weapons face the exact same evolutionary wall. The rabbit population is already back to 250 million, and the curve is pointing up. We built a perfect evolutionary pressure cooker, and the survivors are getting tougher. If you want to see who wins this biological arms race, subscribe. We didn't beat the plague. We just locked ourselves into a permanent, high-stakes biological arms race. The next move belongs to the rabbits. Subscribe for more.